The crystal glass tapped a spoon, and the room obeyed. My father, Gordon Hale, lifted his scotch in our Lake Tahoe great room. "To my son," he announced, "Dylan, sole heir to the Tahoe estate, $18 million of legacy." Cheers broke out. Dylan smiled like victory was his birthright. I stayed by the bookshelf, clutching a manila envelope to my ribs, smiling back with a calm that felt sharp. Elliot Crane, the family attorney, glanced at me, warning. I met his eyes and said, low and even, 4 words that cut through the applause. "You truly don't know, do you?" My father's face heated. "Mara, don't." I let the silence stretch anyway. Before I toppled their kingdom, I wanted them to feel how heavy my quiet could be. For 10 years I kept this estate running, permits signed, bills paid, contractors wrangled, emergencies handled before dawn. Dylan's business trips were just disappearances with better receipts. Yet every time I delivered, Father praised Dylan for building the legacy. 7 days ago, I walked into Gordon's study with our best quarter on record, my plan, my work, and asked for 10% equity. He laughed as if furniture had spoken. "You get a roof," he said. "Not ownership, you're my investment, equipment." I left without a word. He thought I went to cry. Instead, I opened my office safe and took out this envelope, the one I'd been hiding for 3 years. The seal still held, unbroken, like a dare. Now Dylan was already chatting with investors, already spending his inheritance out loud. Gordon basked in congratulations. I stepped into the center of the floor, heels clicking, and felt the paper in my hands turn from weight to weapon. Dylan sauntered over, scotch in hand, wearing the grin everyone mistook for charm. "Don't make this weird, Mara," he said under his breath. "Dad did the right thing." "The right thing," I echoed, nodding at the envelope. "Already planning your reign?" He leaned on the bookshelf. "Possessions 9/10, I possess." "What have you changed?" "The guest cottage," he said, pleased with himself. "Lounge setup, cards, cigars. Needed it for tonight." My stomach dropped. "The cottage isn't empty." He blinked, annoyed. "The old woman. I had her moved this morning." "June Larkin lives there," I said. "Grandma promised her a home for life." He shrugged. "I promised my friends an after-party. I sent June to a motel off the highway. She cried. It was messy." Across the room, Gordon accepted congratulations, laughing like nothing in the world could touch him. "She's 82, I said, voice thin. "She's an expense," Dylan replied, stepping closer. "And so are you. Dad and I talked. We don't need you anymore. You can keep your apartment over the garage for a month. Then you're out." He tapped my shoulder as if I were a light switch. "Go clean the champagne in the hall. Be useful." He walked away, already back among the admirers. I stood there, breathing through my teeth, and felt something lock into place. Not rage, clarity. They'd finally shown me what the estate meant to them. A playground, not a promise. I slid my thumb under the envelope's flap and tore it open. The sound was small, but it cut clean. I stepped into the center of the room. "Excuse me," I said. "Before we continue celebrating, there's an administrative matter. The deeds." Elliot's pen froze when I spread the papers on the sideboard. "Deeds," I said. "Recorded 3 years ago." He read the county stamp and looked up, pale. "Gordon, these are real." My father lurched. "Impossible. Evelyn left everything to me." "Evelyn transferred everything into a trust," I said. "I'm the trustee. I've held the keys for 3 years." Dylan scoffed. "You're bluffing." I flipped to my ledger. "Crypto transfer. Your forged signatures. Dad's asset shuffles. I kept copies while you both applauded yourselves." Dylan reached for the pages. "You stole—" "I prevented collapse," I said, and pressed a notice to his chest. "Eviction. You leave. June returns tonight." His grin cracked. He yanked out a folded document. "Power of attorney, signed October 14th, overrides your trust." I slid a hospital chart into Elliot's hands. October 14th, intubated, sedated, restrained. Elliot swallowed. "She couldn't have signed." Gordon seized my wrist. "Mara, fix this. He's your brother." I pulled away. "You called me equipment." Equipment doesn't crawl back into chains. Dylan's bravado turned wet. I used the forgery as collateral. They're coming at 5. Headlights washed the windows, black SUVs climbing the drive. I called the police, not my family. By dusk, Dylan was cuffed, and Gordon stared at the ruin he'd priced like inventory. June rode back with an officer and her suitcase. I handed her the cottage key, then walked out into the cold lake air, breathing like it was the first clean thing I'd ever owned. Later, I signed a lease in my own name and slept peacefully.